for the last couple of days. We will come right back.
Call Feinbaum now, 855-242-7285. That's 855-242-PAUL. This is the Paul Feinbaum Show.
At AutoZone, we've always been there to help get you what you need when you need it, and that hasn't changed. That's why we want to let you know AutoZone stores are still open. Whether it's a quality part or a free battery test to help you stay on the road, we've got what you need. And if you do happen to need anything fast, we've got free store pickup inside the store or curbside, your choice, as well as next day delivery. Our stores are open and we're ready to help make the job easier. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as the big carriers, but just for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, saving you up to half the cost of the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1896, the first modern-day Olympics were held in the birthplace of competition, Athens, Greece. At the time, only men competed and over 240 male athletes from 14 different countries participated in the games. In 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player of the 20th century to sign an MLB contract. Brooklyn GM Branch Rickey announces the Dodgers had bought Robinson's contract from the Montreal Royals. In 1961, 25th U.S. Masters Tournament Augusta National, South African Gary Player beats defending champion Arnold Palmer and amateur Charles Coe by one stroke to become the first international champion. In 1974, Hammer and Hank Aaron hit his 715th home run, breaking Babe Ruth's record. In 1989, one-handed pitcher Jim Abbott debuted in Major League Baseball. Abbott, despite being born without a right hand, was drafted in the first round of the 1988 MLB Draft and reached the Major Leagues the next year. As a member of the Yankees, he threw a no-hitter against the Cleveland Indians in 1993. Abbott spent an illustrious 10 years in Major League Baseball before he retired. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Hey, it's Flint Lockwood here from Swallow Falls. My friends and I have just discovered these amazing living foodimals. But wait, we've also discovered a crisis that needs our help. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. That's almost 17 million kids. Our mission is to help solve hunger by teaming up with the Feeding America Network to get food to kids facing hunger in communities across the country.
Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks, helping connect children and families who face hunger to billions of pounds of food, reaching shelters, schools, and community centers in every county in America, including yours. Help Flint and the Feeding America network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on today's Sports Drive, we're going to have some fun on this Friday as we'll talk to Executive Director of Pensacola Sports, Ray Palmer, who is quarantined like all of us, and also one girl that's making a huge impact from Escambia High School softball team.
Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold. Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. It's been a good start to a weekend that's going to be, well, for immediate family. We're going to get to spend a lot of time with them for the holidays right here during the Easter week. A lot to give thanks for, but then there's also things that I hope people understand more than ever how important it is for family and people to be together and take the things that are the most important things in life still to be the most important. Because if you're still listening right now and you're with family, that means you've probably made it through the first process. For the ones that have already called, those numbers are going over sheets of when everything passes, what's going to happen with splitting time with their kids and things like that, then they're already done. If you've made it through this point, for 3 or 4 weeks, then everybody should be good to go. I think at this point you've realized that family time is good. And you're on the positive side, not of the other thing. But I will say, though, right now is a time where for Easter weekend, remember, weather's still nice outside, still can watch church online, do your own Easter sunrise if you want. I'll probably still be up when the sun's coming up. That's about usual.
That's true. You will.
We were actually just talking about it. We just had an Easter sales group meeting there, and I was on the other end, and I realized that it was funny. They were all like, "Did you hear that rain last night?" Like, it woke me up. I was like, yeah, it was like 4:30, right? I was still up. I heard it. I really did. Did you hear that, by the way? It got pretty nasty last night.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, but, overall it's going to be a good week. We're inching closer to the draft, and we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to get to a lot today on the show with the executive director of Pensacola Sports, a guy that's won a lot of awards. He was the #1 director for any association in the state of Florida. I think there's 73 different not Pensacola sports, but sports associations around the state of Florida, and we won. He won the award for best one. And a guy that's been a family friend. Those weekends spending over there, hanging out over by Fort McRae with the family, his kids and grandkids. Not happening right now, but a guy that's done so much in the community. Just got up on the mic with the mayor and everybody a couple weeks ago, Stephen Barry and all the folks, and made the announcement that the Sun Belt Conference will have their tournament coming up in 2021 right here at the Bay Center, which I don't think is going to change. I mean, at this point, there's really no reason. Process of steps. We're not taking that one big jump.
Other fish to fry right now.
Exactly. But Ray Palmer will join us coming up here at 5:15. We're going to try something. I don't know if we're going to be able to make this, but we wanted to become, and I don't, just like my infinity ERA, which I know nobody has any worse ERA in the history of college baseball, but I can say that I believe I'm the only person to finish their college baseball career with an infinity ERA. It's pretty fair to assume that.
I think that, yeah. I think
the correlation of a torn rotator cuff and not getting an out, but I have to say, though, for this 2020 quarantine, I think we'd be the first ones ever to try TV, radio, and Zoom all at the same time on the internet.
Dangerous.
I think it's very dangerous, and we'll see if we can get this done, especially with 3 people. You're probably the most gifted when it comes to knowing how to work devices.
That's not saying too much either. That's scary.
I'm the student right now. That's like you getting like 3 right out of 50 on a test and be like, let's look up to JP on this. Be like, I don't know this subject. You just –
Wait, I copied you. Yeah, but I got a D.
That happened to a kid one time, was clearly trying to cheat on me in the SATs. And I was that guy. Instead of being like, dude, you do understand that we all have different test scantrons. Like every question's different, it's rotated. I was the guy that propped up my test a little bit higher. We were in an auditorium, so you could see the auditorium is obviously, this guy was taller too. He was like Sean Bradley. He was looking down, and he clearly was, I mean, I'm always seeing things. I got things going on. I see what's happening. I see what's
scary,
happening.
But yeah.
So I look back, and I can clearly see. So I held that up, and after the test, I was like, did you do all right? He goes, I think I did pretty well. I was like, better luck next year. But it's going to be fun to try that. And then Alyssa Bennett will join us, Escambia High School softball player.
Awesome story.
Who will join us. She's been making hundreds of masks for people out there to fight COVID-19. And her mom actually reached out to us and talked to us yesterday. We ended up talking about just everything they've been doing. She a little bit shy, but when it comes down to this, I said, look, we've had a number of people in here. We'll always make it easy. And it's really, once you start talking about something you love and you dedicate time to, it becomes easy. That's the number one thing. People are shy a lot of times when they don't know what to talk about. But when it comes down to this is what she's doing. She loves it. And we're going to let her take the floor. And
I saw the P&J did an article on her yesterday,
yes,
which I saw the video that she was showing how she did the mask, what material and things like that. So this whole she's shy, I tell you what, she killed the video because that was awesome.
She did an awesome job, and we're looking forward to talking to her coming up here at 6:15 on the program. We're going to break down some more on what's going on with our March Madness brackets. I know it's into April, but we're going to break down some March Madness and more. Joining me on the other side, the voice, only took 6 minutes to introduce him, is JP. What's happening, my friend? Enjoyed Coach Talk Football today with Coach K?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Had Coach, the national champion, coach of our UWF Argos, Pete Shinnick, on there. That's a proper way. I was trying to think of the best way to introduce him, and you always have to throw national champion in there. No, but I just want to ask you, what's up with your boy here? What?
Which one?
Your boy, Tom Brady.
I'm like Stephen A. I've got a ton, so
look,
I'm just kidding.
He's trying to trademark Tampa Bay, and then Tampa Brady. What's he doing?
Wait a second. Is he trying to
He's taking over.
Tampa Bay, that's what he's going with?
Tampa Bay and Tampa Brady.
He's got a name, the last name Brady, where he's the leader. You could be the Brady Bunch, the Golden Boy. He has so many different things going. GOAT, I mean, that's easy. But
somebody tell him to pump the brakes here real quick.
Tampa Bay, that sounds like, look, we know there's a lot of people drunking right now. That's the big thing going on. It's like planking, but now quarantine is just pop a bottle. I have a better chance of succeeding long term for drunking than I do planking, but Tebowing. But I do have to say right now, you might lead from drunking to Tebowing, not on purpose. Are you Tebowing? No. Can't get up, man. What is it? What time is it, man? You got an Advil on you? I just have to say, though, for Tampa Bay, that doesn't even...
Well, neither does Tampa Brady. It just sounds weird.
Tampa Brady sounds like a pretty cool rapper name. There's a guy named Tampa Tony. Have you ever played his music, by the way? Google Tampa Tony, by the way.
Am I going to get a virus?
No, I don't think so. There might be some curse words, but we got to get. I think we used to play Tampa Tony when he was at when we were in Orlando.
Tony.
Oh yeah, Tampa Tony jams. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right.
But
let's find it out.
Tampa Brady, that it's all right.
This doesn't have an explicit behind it, so we might be all right.
Yeah. No, this is hey, here it is. Look at that Tampa Tony shout out.
Keep juking.
This is Keep Juking. Yeah, that's right. There it is. I'm a little worried what might come out next here. It says no explicits.
Should be good.
Keep juking right now. Tampa Tony's got it going on. You're probably going to keep this on your computer, aren't you? I can see this. I can see you going home tonight and being like, I'm going to play a little more Tampa Tony for us. Not bad right there. Tampa Tony.
May have to skip out on Tampa Tony.
Tampa Bay. That's just terrible. Buckeyes athletic director Gene Smith said it's not safe for fans to gather, then why is it for athletes? Gene's a smart guy, and he's made some good hires. But when it comes down to the situation at hand, I get what he's saying, and the broad term is it's not, but it makes so much more sense when it comes to the systematic format of be able to put a bunch of people that are at a younger age out on a football field between about 20 to 30 people tops out there at one time between the refs and the players, and then to be able to put the people on the sidelines distancing themselves. Putting a crowd of 100,000 people that are coming in from all over. Like these players, these athletes coming up, they can make rules where, hey, if you lived off campus or this, we're going to start dorming the football team's facilities where they're sort of monitored of where they're going, things like that.
There's definitely, for sure.
So this stuff is going to be, they're going to be tested. We know these guys, at that point, they're going to be able to be tested, things like that, where we know, compared to, you can't have 100,000 plus. And frankly, too, if they even try to be like, well, we're going to go down to go to every season ticket holder and say, yeah, that season ticket holder is like, yeah, you know what, I've got a stomach ache. I'm going to go ahead and give my tickets to my next door neighbor. We don't know where they're coming from. When I looked at this question, JP, it was like, seriously, Gene? It was almost like the guy just trying to make his point when he has to know. He has to know in the back of his heart it's a complete difference between getting football players out in that football field compared to the safety of having 100,000 people packing in cold weather, sneezing on people, and being all drunk and doing things disorderly, getting out of the stadium, spreading things, touching things.
Disrespectful for the fans.
And then not only that, then you're sending 100,000 people out back into public to scatter, where this team, like we said, can leave the stadium, they can go back to their dorms, they can go to their classes if they've started, do the things to be you can keep track of football teams compared to 100,000 random fans that you don't know who's showing up. I mean, this shouldn't even be really I'm very surprised he said that. Very surprised.
I'm not surprised that what comes out anybody's mouth.
No, that's true.
Point. I mean, it's just, and everybody, I guess, is reacting differently to it, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has their opinion. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're wrong. But you can respect the opinion up to a point. Now, until like what Mike Gundy says. But look, it's, I believe on Feinbaum before the show they were talking about. I think Wisconsin had a plan of. Basically, if they had a season with no fans, they would lose $30 million. And we have to remember that football is pretty much the bell cow when it comes to paying for all these other sports as well. That's where it's tougher for me. For NFL, you can run the TV and you can run it because it's gold. It's pure gold. But for college football, for people, I understand that fans are a part of it. Listen, I said the fans were a part of NCAA March Madness too. But, we could have still played it without them and made plenty of money and everything. But it's, I don't know. I think it's harder because, look, if you're not on TV in college football, you have to make your money somehow for these smaller schools. For the big schools, you'd probably be okay. But for smaller schools, if you're not on TV every week, then what do you do for revenue? It's just so hard. That's the difference in all this is you think that we could just play college football without fans, but that could work for some teams, but definitely not for the majority.
It's something today where public opinion, whether people admit it or not, Tom Brady said he doesn't care about public opinion as much. But
Tampa
he said,
Brady?
Tampa Brady, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Tampa Brady right there. The guy that everybody does, whether they admit it or not, when they're in the spotlight. And it's more in the spotlight than ever. Like I said, first show I ever did on radio, I said, I played a little college ball immediately on the forums, which I used to read them. Guys like, oh, big timer, big herd out here, everybody. Look at this. Listen in. Oh, my gosh. Is it Babe Ruth? Is it the Bambino? And this guy went to town. And knowing me, you know who I am. I got back on there with a fake name, and I think it was Hans Skillett, and went on there and just completely berated this guy. Be like, I'm glad you have this much time to write while it's going on. Being like, clearly you care that much as a fan. He went back and he's like, as a White Sox fan, I just started laughing with big emojis, like, ha ha, White Sox, like an Eric Cartman thing. And then that was the end of the conversation. And then my boss called me in the next day and was like, hey, let's not get on forums. I was like, how'd you know it was me? He's like, nice try, buddy. But I saw you typing 8,000 words during the show. But you realize at this point that people are going to be negative and the things you hear. But ultimately, no matter what, there are going to still be people fighting this on both sides. When we come back, we're gonna talk to Ray Palmer, the executive director of Pensacola Sports, on the phone. We're going to see if we can do the Zoom while we're doing this and on TV.
Bear with us.
First 2020 quarantine of Zoom, TV, and radio at the same time. It's the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola. Coming back for more.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best 4G LTE networks, same as the big carriers, but just for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, saving you up to half the cost of the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Well, here we are again, and I got to tell you, Jim, this match has me really concerned.
Here we have a powerful heavyweight, a train, weighing in at 6,000 tons. And this hasty lightweight challenger, a car, at just 1.5 tons?
This does not bode well for the car, or the people in it.
It's no contest. Every day, people are injured or killed trying to beat a train at rail crossings. See tracks, think train.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
JP here with Talk Football on the Sports Drive. This is a different time for all of us, and for some, it's extremely tough right now. All of us here at ESPN Pensacola want to send a shout out to all our first responders and healthcare workers right now. We appreciate all the work that you do day in and day out, but right now we know you are all working harder than ever to help all of us get through this to beat COVID-19. If you see someone or know someone who is a first responder or healthcare worker, don't shake their hand, but let them know you appreciate them. Remember, a kind word goes a long way.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brillante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. Now, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast on Blab TV. I am Chad Brillante, alongside JP on the other side of the glass. And joining us now from Pensacola Sports, the executive director. We've got this Zoom thing going on here from the house, but not 100% sure if we're getting the audio on it. Well, look, now we're hearing it right here. Ray Palmer joins us. Ray, what's happening, my friend?
That first test 1, 2, 3, you know what you're supposed to do in the business test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What we're probably going to have to do is I just realized that this is going to be awful radio, just because it's there's a reason why we were going to be the first ones to do this, I think, because we're getting all the different audio coming on at once. So, Ray, why don't we do this? Why don't we set up another time where we'll try to get Zoom together and we'll do something off, but we're getting both interference at the same time. So I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cut the meeting on Zoom, and then we'll just talk normal on radio. Sound good? Cool. This is what happens. Don't you feel like we're now all of a sudden, Ray? Are you good right now? With is he still on? We'll give him a call here in a second. 850-623-1330 is the number. I feel like I'm that kid that is coming into. I'm the dad, like the grandfather. During a time where the kid just got the video games, he's like, "Grampy, come here. Let me show you this Call of Duty." And he's like, "What?" And "What's this button?" That's to pause the game. Stop. We're all trying to figure this out together. But no, I do not want to convert that meeting. I don't think anybody wants to see that meeting. We'll get Ray back on here and talk regular. There's a reason now. I wonder if anybody, I was like, I wonder if anybody's tried that at one time, and I realize now why. Ray, are you with us here on the phone?
I am. I can't tell you.
Great to hear you.
I even cut my work day short to go take a shower and get out of the T-shirt and put on a nice collared Pensacola sports shirt to be on the radio.
Well, I think your wife is going to appreciate that regardless, I think. So I think
well,
But I think I understand we were trying that, but all the 4 audio coming in at once, and then JP was going to come in on the invite, and that just would have I think it would have been fireworks. But overall, let's get to the conversation, and we'll try that again Zoom. I think it's a cool idea to be able to get everybody in here working with the sports area, keep people posted, because there are still fans right now of all the events that you guys do, from Subway High School All-Star Games for all of our high schools, to all of the events that you guys do, from Cox Diamond Invitationals to the big runs in town that you have thousands. I've had a chance to MC a number of them, and you get thousands upon thousands for the Double Bridge Run and the marathons, and these people are waiting. They're still sitting there like all of us, and I think they'll be hungrier than ever when we get out of this on the other side. But Ray, just talk about right now currently, what is one of the things that you guys at Pensacola Sports are looking into the most as this goes on and you're at your house?
Well, what we're doing is we're in the work-from-home mode, as virtually everybody is. And we have different assignments. But for the most part, our event staff is moving forward with planning of events. We've had one event, two events that have been postponed. Actually, to date, only one event, I believe, has actually been postponed. That's our Subway High School All-Star basketball game. And we have tentative. We had picked the teams, so we know who our All-Stars were, all the senior All-Stars from the 3 counties. So now we're waiting for an opportunity, probably midsummer, we believe. Pensacola State College is ready to work with us. That's one of our most populated and attended and exciting events. We basically fill up the Pensacola State Hartselle Arena, and those kids just have so much fun. And the basketball players will continue to play in the summertime. That's what they're just very used to that. So for them to take Thursday night or Friday night or whatever night we want to do it, the game, and just put them in their all-star uniforms and throw the ball out there, they'll put on a great show and they'll have fun. So basketball is pretty easy. The baseball and softball is a little bit harder because early June is our tentative date. We're still holding that date now. We've not picked all-stars. So we're considering maybe going a different route with that. We're not sure. We'll wait a couple of weeks before we make a decision there. And then one of my favorite events is our annual Senior Scholar Banquet, where we honor the top scholastic athletes in Escambia and Santa Rosa County and give away $100,000 worth of scholarships. So what we're envisioning for that, and that's supposed to be at Olive Baptist Church in the middle of May. We've still got that date. I got my doubts. But we are going to honor every one of those 210 or so student athletes who are nominated. The selection process actually happened last night. So the selection committee did a Zoom meeting and went through those 200 nominees, and they have picked the winners in each sport, including a new additional sport that I'd be happy to tell you about at some point. And our overall winners and some other scholarship winners, our Whataburger for a Year award winner, they've all been picked, and they will all get their award. Now, whether we'll be able to do it in the form of a banquet with 700 people, maybe not. But we will have those awards done, and all those athletes will be honored and acknowledged as best as we can do under the current circumstances.
Speaking with Ray Palmer, Executive Director of Pensacola Sports. And Ray, one thing that I think we're pretty certain is that the number one thing that will come back is sports-related events that are outdoors, spread out, and in smaller groups. Now, when it comes to running, you got two of those knocked out, but one of them is the large groups. Now, for me, I would be in the clear because I'd be so far back in the back that nobody's with me. But when it comes down to if you're doing the Bayou Hills or you're doing one of the big runs, is there ways that races, because I've worked with a lot of the people that are part of the race groups, having a chance to MC the races over the years, but people are out there running right now. I see the running clubs distancing themselves, doing things. Is there a certain criteria or something that you've looked into, a study that has shown that groups can go out at different times and make this possibly work, because it is spread out over large areas, sometimes you got to take 30 miles based on that in a perimeter area, based on 26.2 is a mile, but you have 30, all over. You're taking for a marathon. My apologies. That was very confusing math. But when it comes down to, I'm like, wait a second, what is he talking? But is there a way to make that happen? Have you looked into that? If it comes back where, yes, we're allowed to go out and do outdoor activities, but groups of 3,000-4,000 running at a time are just obviously not doable.
We have not, Chad, and simply because I believe, and I think the world believes, that by the time the runs begin back up actively, then it'll be safe. People will be safe. Now, there will be people that will be leery, and I anticipate that we will lose some revenue. We will lose some numbers of people who are going to be cautious, but I think there's going to be some pent-up demand. There's no doubt going to be a portion of that, but I think there will be a certain amount of caution as well. But the logistics of trying to spread a race out over that type of requirement, we hope people will, practice good, sensible, ways to go about that. But nobody knows what the model looks like. So we are watching. We're very active in the industry nationwide on what are people doing and what are the options. So, and a big part of going forward and being successful is exactly what you said. Is people are going to want to know whether it's a person running the Bayou Hills run or a person who is traveling from Birmingham to sit on Pensacola Beach that has nothing to do with it. The tourism industry and the event industry combined are going to be challenged with messaging of what is your community doing to sanitize itself. I think it's going to be a major role, and it's been talked on many state and national conference calls that I've been on over the last week or two. Is that's going to be more, as much so, of come to Pensacola Beach or come to the Double Bridge Run or the Women's Half Marathon or the Bayou Hills Run or whatever it may be. There's going to be a certain amount of messaging is come because our hotels are doing X, Y, and Z. We're going to have X, 10 times more hand sanitizing stations so that's a great point to be brought up, and that is something we absolutely are looking at, and the tourism industry as a whole is looking at.
Ray, JP here, of course. And now, on a brighter note, I guess, before all this stuff happened, of course, I saw you out there, the Cox Diamond Invitational at Blue Wahoo Stadium, and I know it's been a while since we've talked, but, of course, there were some awesome games. I think that was you had a good turnout, a lot of people out there, a lot of fun. Of course, the gameplay when you're talking about Sanford and Louisiana Lafayette, Michigan State, and Troy, I thought it was awesome out there. I thought you guys did a great job. But how did it all turn out for you? How was the whole weekend?
Well, thanks, JP. I appreciate it. And it was great to see you out there. It was a good weekend for us. It was kind of surprising. I don't know if you were there the first night, but I talked to a lot of baseball people. Louisiana Lafayette is a fascinating story in that they came over here, and I don't remember exactly what the record was. Y'all probably remember. It was not pretty.
Not very good.
They had it was not pretty. And their first game was awful. They kicked it around and booted it around, and I don't know if they had 8 errors, maybe 10 errors, and the baseball people who I have great respect for were like, oh my goodness, these guys are awful. They are going to have a long, long weekend. And the side note is that of all the Division I colleges in the baseball teams in Division I, we looked it up at some point because over the weekend of the conversation they were talking about crowds, and they brought a couple of buses over. Because their coach apologized. He said, "Man, if we were 10-2, we'd have 6 more buses here." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure you would, buddy." I looked it up, and they were in the top 8 of average. They averaged over 5,000 home fans in their home games in Louisiana Lafayette. That's more than the Wahoo's average of true attendance every game. It's amazing, but. Then they came back and won 2 games, played really well, and left out of here with their heads high and had a fantastic time and said, when can we come back? So we had a great time. Everybody won a game, which was always nice for us because it's not a tournament. Those guys are looking for play. They love to have a little success. Everybody won a game. Nobody won them all. Nobody lost them all. So from our standpoint, that's kind of the perfect weekend.
That makes sense now. I didn't get there till the second day, Ray, and somebody had texted me that night. I didn't get it. Now I get it. They said, "Were you playing the hot corner for Lafayette on Friday night?" Now I get it. Now it all comes to fruition why I got that text. So all right, that makes sense. Yeah, they didn't text me the other 2 days. I guess they got better. I guess, but when
they definitely got better.
Ray, look, the questions we know in this business. It's a revolving door every time I talk to somebody. How do you do a show without sports for 2 hours? And you said, you know what, you've been in our studio, the tangents we get off in and the things we talk about, heck, we can go for 4 hours on things, and then you realize it's not even a sports show. But at the same time, I look at it right now, and you guys work directly with events and have built it for so many years, award-winning events, and you've won awards yourself for sports associations around America, what you've accomplished. I mean, this is a hotbed of teams coming down here from Exchange Park to Ashton Brosnahan to Blue Wahoo Stadium, all over you guys, and now bringing in the Sun Belt is incredible, and we're still expecting next year to be such a great event. I look at everything you guys have done, and you're not the only ones obviously dealing with this, but what sport to you, if you had to pick from what you guys have done, seems to be something where it would have the best chance to start or setting dates where you look at from watercross events and more. I think, as you said at the beginning, we're all going to sit back and wait on these. But in your mind, what is one if they said, okay, you know what, we're going to start easing things in? Is it a Bud Light charity, one of the tennis tournaments? What are some of the events that you look at and said these might be possible if they give us the go?
I think it has less to do with the sport as it does with the clientele. I think the senior softball, for example, I think seniors will be very reluctant to travel for a while.
As they should.
I'm a senior. I know I will be somewhat reluctant to travel until I see a vaccine or a known process of treatment. Because in my case, if I get it with a compromised system, my body can't fight it. I don't want to go to the hospital. That's not good for me. So I will be slower to the market. I think young children, I think the small young baseball players and volleyball players and softball players and soccer players, I believe they will be younger, slower to come back in numbers. I think they'll be slower to come back because, I think people have learned that, you know what, playing in the backyard ain't all bad. Playing with your friends ain't all bad. And the reluctance and the money savings of travel ain't all bad. Also, I think those numbers will be down because I think when they do come back to travel, I think they'll come back in smaller groups. I don't think as many moms will travel. I don't think grandmothers and grandfathers will travel, which they do often with the younger generations. I think what you're going to see is going to be the events that focus on the young, healthy, and I hate to use the word millennial, but quite frankly, that's kind of where we're going from. I'm going to say from late high school, those kids are young and healthy, up to probably the mid-40s. Those people are going to be pin-up. So whatever sport they're participating in, whether that be a tennis tournament or a run, very common in the running industry or the endurance industry, I think it has to do with more of the generation in that market than it does the particular sport. Outdoor sports, I think, will come back a little faster than indoor sports. But that being said, I still think it has more to do with that person your age, Chad, JP, who are healthy for the most part and some pin-up, and you're ready to go do your sport, and you're ready to go back to the travel market. I think that's what will come back the fastest.
Well, you've seen me a couple days on Fort McRae. The healthy-wise, Ray, when you look right now at what's going on though with around the world of sports, not just here. XFL today announced that they had to pull the plug. They just didn't have the finances to keep it. A lot of these companies that are staying alive are ones that they have a huge amount of money saved where they're taking a hit, but they know that they can bring that back later on, and some can't. But ones that, like the XFL, they just couldn't take that hit, and they canceled today. But I want to talk some college football real quick because, and not college football, but college sports in general. Spring athletes were able to get eligibility, which sounds on the surface like such a great idea to give these guys and girls an opportunity. However, if anybody knows the real logistics of Title IX and how many scholarships are given per college, it's going to open up a door where they're going to have to bring in 7,500 more athletes onto their campus with no real reason or no money to pay these athletes, and still try to figure out how to manage where not everybody has a program like Alabama in football where they can generate money across the board. Ray, when you saw this about athletes, we're going to get one more year where truly you can get 2 freshman classes almost come into sports like volleyball and other ones. What did you think of it?
Well, 2 freshman classes and 2 senior or 2 senior classes.
Mm-hmm.
What did I think of it? I thought it was a quagmire, and I am so glad I am arm's distance from it, and I don't have to manage it. Because I seriously, that is I know what they're trying to do, the right thing for the student athlete, but I cannot imagine working through all of that. It's beyond my little brain, I guarantee you. Just all I saw was challenges.
I agree. I think, anybody, when I had to do a speech at the, I'll never forget, when I was at the Pace Rotary, and I spoke to everybody, and it's a male and female group, and it was the talk about Title IX, and I brought up how Title IX has helped ruin a lot of sports in college, and people, I mean, these eyes, I was getting the Cyclops laser beam from some people because they didn't know exactly what I meant. And I'm all about equality. Look, I've got a 4-year-old daughter. Ray, you love your kids, your grandkids. You know I'd do anything for Leighton, and I want equality across the board when it comes to sports, and that's something you guys pride yourself on from when scholarships and everything that happens. However, Title IX, what people don't take into account is the 85 to 90 scholarships that you get in football. Women's sports don't have football, so 90-something scholarships have to be made up to make it equal, and they're forming sports that don't even exist, handing out flyers where there's a lot of guys on baseball teams and other sports that don't have any scholarship and have to take out student loans to play a sport in college because of that rule. And it's not because not all the women that are great athletes aren't getting their scholarship. It's because people walking around that didn't even want to play sports are now getting scholarships just to have the same amount of numbers, which doesn't make any sense to me. Personally, I hope I broke that down in a way, but do you agree or disagree that it is hurting the sport? I mean, I don't want to get you involved too much into this because it is more of a radio topical, and you can plead the fifth on this, but I want to say that people, when they hear that at first, they get angry because they think it's a chauvinist kind of way, and it's almost the opposite. I want to see the right athletes across the board get scholarships.
Well, the first and foremost important point is Title IX is not about sports. It was not created about sports. It was created about education opportunities.
Yes.
And so that is the biggest misunderstanding of everybody is sports has just been the flag that's been run up the pole of examples of misuse of Title IX, but Title IX was not created. It was created about equal opportunity in the education and in the classroom. How it has applied to sports, in some ways it has very much helped sports because now the women have, have now opportunities, and we would never have the U.S. Women's World Cup women's soccer team at the level that we have if it weren't for the Title IX, because everybody now has available opportunities that were not available previously through sports in college opportunities. And in my business, sports tourism, when you talk about the youth, the numbers continue to grow, and in many sports are skewed to where there's more girls now that are playing than there are guys. And again, go back to the Women's World Cup team. What a perfect example of what a worldwide success we've had, ultimately caused because of that. Now, how does it happen how does it get equal opportunity on a football team when a football team makes, I don't know, what do they make? In the case of an Alabama, $50 million a year. I don't know, it might be $5 million, whatever it is. And then you've got a women's lacrosse team who is struggling to, if they have to stand on their own merit, they're lucky to break even. But the football opportunity, so it is such a complicated matter. There's so many goods that came out of that legislation, but so many challenges. And I think this decision to extend senior years or give back another senior year only exasperates it.
And not everybody, and even today, or yesterday actually, Wisconsin Athletic Director Barry Alvarez says they're not going to do it. So ultimately, it's like government law where then it goes to state law, local law, county law. Everything what happens from a standpoint of this seems like a lot of these schools can still govern the opportunity of whether they want to allow that or not, because it is their money and how many kids are going to be on campus. It's like you said. The biggest thing, I'm glad I'm not dealing with it because it's way too.
Exactly, and if they can choose, they still have to follow the guidelines and of equality and equal expenses. I know, and I'm sure University of West Florida has struggled so much with this when they added football, and then because like you said, D2 is different. I think it's 50-something, I think, scholarships, I believe. But again, then what do you do with the women's sports? And it goes to facilities. They have that sport has put that university on a national level that, as good as they've been in sports and as many national championships as they have won, nothing did for them from a national reputation what 4 years of football has done for them. Nothing. Ever. And nothing they ever will do for them. Now they're going to have a band. Now they've developed a music program, which you had a phenomenal world-class music program, but now they have a marching band. Now you have kids coming out, from all over the country that want to play on the future marching band. So your music program extends and expands, and more revenue coming in. I mean, I'm more in the business of sports than I am in the box score end of sports, and so I look at it sometimes a little bit differently than others. I was on a call this week. We're talking about the impact from who's going to come back when and how. I was on a call this week with the Destination International, which is probably the most powerful travel industry association in the world, and the president was presenting, and he said, "We believe that sports will lead the way back in the tourism industry. Before leisure travel, before business travel, we think sports will be the first one back because sports is such a portion of our culture."
Well, it is, and also, as you have done in this community, as we try to do here with ESPN Pensacola and what Mary and Dave have done here at ADX, or simulcast on Blab, what they do down there with Doug and everybody, the opportunity for people to be working in sports creates so many jobs, so many people that we're not thinking of today, ushers at the Wahoo's games to everybody in the front office. The platform of how many jobs are created from this, and also it's something where it's sports ingrains being healthy, fit, exercise, everything that people want to do, whether they admit it or not. And I think it's something right now, Ray, where we're all fiending. I thought, I've seen some great memes of, The Rock saying, "Gosh, it's been a tough 4 months. I can't believe this." And in the back seat, his daughter goes, "Dad, it's been 18 days." And he goes, and like his head gets about to explode. Like, we all feel that way. I think everybody right now, the NFL draft might have every human being on this planet watching, even in Antarctica, if they can pick it up on a signal. So anything that's happening in sports, people are just finding a way to watch right now. But I got to say, we do have to take a break. But, Ray, I appreciate everything that you and Pensacola Sports and will continue to do. And when all is said and done, I truly believe in my heart, and this is not just one of these cliche kind of answers, but I do believe that more people are going to want to participate, be part of it, volunteer, just get out and do anything they can to get outdoors, stay healthy, and not take things like that for granted when we're all done with this. And we will be done with this very soon.
I hope so, and I think we will be too.
Well, Ray, stay safe, my friend, and we'll continue. We'll try one of these Zoom meetings with everybody on there. So let Shugart, let Bill Hamilton, all the guys, Greg Harris. We'll try this again. This should be fun. We 0 for 1 right now. That's on me right now. So I struck out looking. So we'll try to get this working again here soon.
Good. Look forward to it.
All right, Ray. Appreciate it, bud. All right. Ray Palmer, the executive director of Pensacola Sports right there. We tried the Zoom meeting. We got it, but then we actually got it. I mean, that's a step. But there were so many different audios. We're going to try that. We're going to get everybody boxed in there. Let's go to a break, the 5:30 break, and we'll come back. It's the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, Dilly Dilly. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Bitching and moaning on and on about the time I had. And by Tuesday, you could say that girl was good as gone.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Little Luke Combs coming back, having some fun alongside our other side of the glass, JP. Thanks again to Pensacola Sports Executive Director, not you, Ray Palmer, for joining us here on air.
Sure, you already thanked me.
XFL has, it doesn't look like they're coming back right now for the time being. It suspended pretty much all of play and got rid of anybody that's in the front office at this point. But
they'll be back.
They will. But, I mean, it goes back to reverting back to what we said earlier. Leagues that already had money to do this are okay to take a hit. It's like businesses. There are some businesses, we've seen it at this point, and it's unfair, but it's what we're dealing with right now, and it's what is the right thing to do, is not to have people walking around. I know Sweden's trying things, but right now I don't know enough about that. We're doing what everybody else is doing. This isn't America versus the rest of the world. It's everybody around the world is doing this. And I know we have mixed emotions. I've had moments where I'm like, everybody, I really need to, when Molly Ringwald's playing at World of Beer so I can go out there and fist bump. And, no, none of that is happening anytime soon. But I do have to say that people need to understand that with the XFL, they didn't have a huge amount of money saved for this, and clearly they didn't take out pandemic insurance like for $2 million a year. But WWE was already, with Vince McMahon, they were already going to take a hit, and they knew it through the first couple years. They just couldn't take a hit without getting any revenue generated, and that's why they had to make this move.
They have the money. They have money for 5 years, so it's not like they don't have the money, but it's actually a smart move, a business move, because why have the money just sitting there when you can actually prolong what you have to prolong the XFL, but you have to shut this down. You have to just call it right now. They already canceled, of course, their season and everything. There was no use of them hanging on right now because right now we have no idea. Look, worst case scenario, you may not have a football season this year. So, when you talk about college football and NFL, that's worst case. So what does that mean for the XFL? Why hang on when what happens if it comes around to February and we still can't have sports? Like, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think everything's going to be on time. But what if? So there's no reason of hanging on right now. If they get to October and football's going on, they can restart the process. I mean, let's be honest.
Next year,
they'll get
yes, because they're not going to try to compete with the NFL. I mean, that'd be a waste.
No, I'm just saying because you're not going to be able to start in January to get a season going in February. Yes. That's what you have to remember. And I just think the players are going to be there regardless. So it's not like these players have to plan on anything. The players that aren't playing in the NFL are the players that were playing in the XFL. It's not like you had NFL players playing in the XFL. So that's not going to change anything and for these guys. And look, I think for the XFL, it stinks, but I think it's going to be a product that's going to be really good for many years to come because I think it's actually going to continue to build. So it's a business move. You hate it for the people that lost their jobs, but it'll be back.
Economics 101. What they did today was pretty much shut down something that wasn't existing and was already starting with numbers in the red. And they had to find a way. And they were going to, cities like St. Louis were embracing it. But they suspended operation. They laid off their employees. But remember, if they sat there and paid these guys, and some of them, this isn't AAF money. They're paying some of these people pretty handsomely. I mean, teams combined millions of dollars. Not hundreds of millions like some of these NFL, but millions of dollars are being taken out. And at this point, though, suspending the league was the right call. And look, one thing we need to learn in life is if people have a track record, whether you like it or not, of making things successful, then you might be fighting the ideas or the vision or the platform. But Vince McMahon and Alpha Entertainment, they've already made WWE into what it's been, whether it's been WWF, when WCW took over with Goldberg coming out and you had Razor Ramon and guys like Kevin Steele, Nash coming out there and all these guys and hanging out and all these people were part of it and they still survived. Then they went with WWE and didn't miss a beat and they still survive.
They own NXT too, don't they?
Yes, okay. But this is a thing. And then they started to branch off into shows and think about how many John Cenas and people like The Rock that became famous into Hollywood and then they came back to the ring. Rob Gronkowski. Back in the ring now after what he's done. He wouldn't come back to the Pats, but he'd go in the ring during COVID-19. A little bit of a slap, but it happened. But overall, I got to say, Vince McMahon has always, he's definitely a little boisterous in his way. He's brass. He definitely takes steroids and tans. But overall, Vince McMahon has done the right thing when it comes to business. He's made a lot of money for a lot of people. And he wouldn't do this if it wasn't a good business move. And it was one that makes sense. People understand it. People don't want to be laying people off right now. Hospitals are laying people off right now that aren't in areas that like New York City because people are afraid to go to hospitals to see people in areas that don't have hundreds upon hundreds coming in there to get tested and have beds for ventilators. Not everybody in the country is like that right now. A lot of people are getting laid off around the country. And it's just scary right now to think, though, they're doing this because ultimately big business and the moves they're making are the correct ones for the bank account and looking at the numbers, but it's not easy. It's not, because we were just getting into the XFL. People were just, a lot of those guys, that was their chance to make their careers. And they're still 22, 23 years old. And even though this thing might pass, we don't know the exact path, but we assume we're talking 3-4 months. That means that the rest of their lives got put on a hold. PJ Walker's and the lucky ones that got contracts with the NFL before it ended. But there are a lot of guys that the next 4 or 5 weeks could have been the difference between them being millionaires. The next Victor Cruz from UMass in an NFL preseason game, and now we're not going to get to see that. But it's understandable, and we all get it. The Chiefs did, on that note, sign Jordan Ta'amu today. So, all right. And he's going to be battling for who's going to get
they signed him a while back, didn't they? Yeah.
They did, but officially today he is now, they're saying, challenging to be the incumbent for Kansas City. Andy Reid really, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think a lot of I
would have somebody tested if they
after
thought
the draft,
he's taking
you're
over
going to have
Mahomes.
a bunch of these XFL guys that sign as unrestricted free agents. So that's where a lot of teams find out what they can get in the draft. There's no sense of signing a guy if you may end up getting that guy in the draft. So there's going to be a bunch of XFL players that are going to the NFL this year.
What if you really wanted to play quarterback, not just the paycheck, even though that's awesome, but you really just love the passion of being the starter, and you get signed by the Kansas City Chiefs? You're like, yay. It's like old school.
You get some rings.
It's got 3 speeds. It's the exact one I got you for. Yay, Patrick Mahomes. We're coming back for more. One more hour right here on the Sports Drive.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive in the second hour, XFL suspending all operations. Drew Brees says when he's done, he'll be working with NBC Sports. Drew Brees is... Let's just ask Drew Brees for the answers. He had given $5 million like 3 weeks ago, and he's already set, even though he might not retire in 2 years, he's already got to deal with NBC. Everybody look to Drew Brees.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin, shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Broken beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold. Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Happy Good Friday to everybody. A lot to be thankful for today when it comes to family and getting to spend time, but also a lot of things that I hope have put things into perspective on the big things. And I hope people are, even though you can't go into the buildings, still watching online. And it's a good time to be a person of faith. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Whether you've gone to church or not, I would hope that people have a little faith right now. Good songs, good rap songs back in the day. Have a little faith. No, just more of a pop song. But I will say, though, overall, it has been it's been a crazy couple weeks when it comes down to decisions and what's being made. But one thing is when people are taking the time right now and doing things that are big for the community. I think it's funny seeing some of the online posts where it said 2019, guy on the couch, and he's sitting there laying, looks like he's doing just ate his like 5th meal, and he's like, lazy bum, get off the couch. You're a guy, you're not doing anything for our family. And then it says 2020, doing the right thing. It's changed a lot. Now that guy's looked at as a hero. But the real heroes are out there still fighting for us each and every day in the hospitals and doing big things. And one thing that we know is that there are local athletes and local people, local high school kids that are making an impact. And Alyssa Bennett's one of those. She plays high school softball over at Escambia High School. And she'll be joining us coming up here. She's making masks right now with other people in the community to help because of the shortage of what's going on with the masks and just doing anything she can to make a difference. And that's pretty awesome overall. So Alyssa has made over 100 masks, will join us coming up here, and it's going to be pretty cool. For local medical professionals, they made different types of masks to be used as well. So looking forward to talking to her coming up here at 6:15. Looking at some of the other stories right now, we talked a little bit about it, but the XFL has shut down. 20 games played. Somebody will put into perspective that 20 games have been played in the XFL and 32 were played in the AAF. So, I mean, look, the XFL would have lasted longer than the AAF, but that's like that prop bet on the Houston Astros over under 89 beans, how many times they were going to get beaned this year. Based on that number, it'd be one every 2 games almost, and they were already getting hit 7 times in the first 3 spring training games. So, yes, Jose Altuve alone, smaller strike zone to hit him and beat him, but would have probably hit that mark. No pun intended. But at this point, it is somebody's laughing if they took that and can't get their money back. Those prop bets, those long prop bets on things. I wonder if Vegas is calling to give those money back to people. You know what I'm saying? Imagine you flying out to Vegas and you thought you were going to cash it like a prop bet on over-under, like, well, think about it, like an XFL team, over-under 7 wins or something like that. It was a 10-game season, correct? So a team going like 6.5, over-under 6.5 wins, a team going 7-3, and they're sitting there like the Houston Renegades at 5-0, or the Houston Roughnecks. How dare you? The Dallas Renegades. See, the league's closed and we're already forgetting the name. But the Houston Roughnecks were sitting at 5-0, but you would lose that? You're like, seriously? Hello? Well, they're closed right now. They're not picking up your phone call, first off. But more important things in life than that. That's the risk you always take, right? The house always finds a way to win. Looking at the situation right now in college sports, and it's going to be a big question going forward, but Buckeyes athletic director Gene Smith said, if it's not safe right now for the fans, why should it be safe for the athletes? Now, he brought up this point, saying Friday that they need more information from experts on how holding sporting events in empty stadiums or arenas would ensure the health of student athletes. Look, at this point, if people are going down the path of it's ensuring the health, that's not going to be a guarantee unless we have an actual something to fight it. Something where we know that we can get a shot or we can take something and we're going to be safe. Because even the flu shot, people said that if this is at the same level of the flu shot, you know, how many people, when they take the flu shot, are still like, I'm still going to get the flu? I mean, I know we all got the flu shot this year, and I had the flu multiple times or something. I mean, I was in here quarantined, like one of those movies that somebody
you still get the flu if you get the flu shot, but it can help fight it off. That's what we have to remember, and I've said this over and over again. We can't act like once this vaccine comes out that, okay, that'll stop everything. You're still, if you go to games, you get in groups, you go to the bar, you do whatever, you have family outings, that you're still probably, somebody is going to get this. Like, this is not going to stop it overall, especially when it's still changing. That's where we just have to wrap our mind around that is, yes, it'll help hinder it once we get the vaccine, but it's just like the flu and the cold. If you're going out there, yeah, I got the flu shot, well, that can help you, but it doesn't mean that you're immune completely. So that's the difference in all this, and I think you just got to be realistic with it. And I understand people not wanting to go back to games until they get a vaccine. I get that because, well, we still don't know what this does to everybody because everybody's a little bit different, but we see what it does to older people that have, compromised immune systems. I think we kind of forget in all this because we're still so scared and we're almost in shock still that we're still going to get this when it's deemed safe.
I think the 2 biggest things that we need to fight also right now, and pretty much for society today might be impossible to fight, is being humbled and patience. Those are 2 things that have been lost in this generation. I mean, we always joke with Google fingers and things like that, but, back in the day, if you had to be like, hey, what's the capital of this state? Well, you better get back to history class and look on a map. Now, if today you just Google, I thought it was Louisville. Oh, look at that. Ask Siri what's the capital of Kentucky. It's Frankfurt, by the way. But I mean, but for the people that don't understand, they got a pretty sweet high school. It's called the Frankfurt Dogs, Frankfurt hot dogs, right there. But they're a bunch of winners out there. They're very good winners. But no, they're winners. That's what I said, right? Now I have to say though, for a lot of these people, we need to be patient because we don't have sports right now. People are salivating for the NFL draft every single day, and that's 2 weeks away. The difference is every single day something's changing in the news and things like that. But we're sitting here on April 10th. It is April 10th, 2020. College football, and these answers, if we even drew out a map saying you get 2 weeks to get your team prepared, these are still athletes. These guys are still working out. They're still getting in shape. They're not all sitting there like the end of the movie in Dodgeball where the guy, LaFleur, sitting there where he's got 15 different food items and the munchies and the couch, and none of that is happening. These guys are still keeping themselves in good shape, the athletes, and the coaches are still looking through playbooks. They're not going to all forget. If they said to people, hey, you got 2 or 3 weeks to get ready and get trained.
You need a month.
Okay, let's say a month.
Remember, these aren't high school athletes. These aren't peewee athletes. These are playing at the highest level, the collegiate athletes. That you do have to take precautions when you're talking about getting them prepared, because when they are coming back, think about the players in the South, the heat and everything going on. It's because they're going to be coming out of quarantine. Now, I'm not saying they're all cooped up in their house. We know they're not. But they have been almost sedentary a lot more than they normally
would. When you say it has to be a month, you don't think in 20 days that they could
you could do it in 5 days if you want, but now you're putting people at risk for this because this takes time. I don't
think they're going to come back anyway without, like I said, this is what Ray and we were talking about earlier. If they have something to that platform of, hey, it's safer now. We've got this. They take this, and it seems like it goes away, or at least we can test. And that's what I'm saying. A platform of not the unknown, but something that they're working on right now, vaccinations and other things. I don't know. Like I said, we're all figuring this out together. There's no case to be able to judge this by besides what we're seeing in China and South Korea and other places that got it before us. That's all we're trying to do is assess that.
I'm just saying, what I'm trying to get across is yes, guys, you could put guys out there immediately. It doesn't matter. But any coach can tell you the thing that takes the longest is conditioning. And you can't get guys out there if they're not properly conditioned out there hitting each other and doing this stuff. You can do walkthroughs all you want to, absolutely, and I'm sure they would, but I just know in general from the coaching side of it, you spend a lot of these high school athletes for football or whatever, you spend the majority of your summer conditioning, and you still don't get built up necessarily to where you want to be come play, the time you're supposed to play. You can do the playbooks, you can do all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things you can do virtually, of course, but that game, that just getting out there on that field, putting the pads on. Remember, these guys have to have pads and things like that, and especially down here in the South, it's a little bit different than a lot of other places, and you just got to be careful, especially when you just had something, and that's saying, of course, when we get the all clear, but you just had a virus coming through like that. The last thing you want to do is put a guy and compromise him just because, we got to start football. We just got to start. You're still putting players.
I agree. What I'm saying is ultimately if they make that announcement in a month before the season, we'd be looking at a date at the end of July. Right now we have the month of about 2/3 of the month of April. You have May and you have June. We have at this point about 80 days at least before we even go down that path of, okay, we need at least a month or so. So 80 days, and people right now, and I know that you can't wait until that 80th day because you have to get season tickets. There's so many moving pieces. But remember, season tickets might not happen because we're probably going to play these. We all, I think, agree these games will not be played in front of fans this first year. And I think most people respect that, knowing that we could still watch football from the couches and in small groups tailgate, at our house. But at the same time, when you look at the numbers, we have about 70 to 80 days, and people are wanting answers now. People need to shut it down now. That's the kind of stuff where I say, whoa, Nelly, let's at least calm down and understand that we want things because we want things to talk about. We want answers now. That's what society is. But that's why when our grandparents, when they dance at weddings and they've been married 75 years and you ask them, well, how did you guys stay around? And we're like, well, I had a really, really good room to watch Matlock back. And then everybody cracks up and laughs. But people stayed together even, and they fought through times. Are you kidding me? They went to war and came back and didn't see people for months. But that's why they're the greatest generation for a reason. And those people didn't ever give up. They didn't give up in fighting for the country. They didn't give up on a lot of things. Now, that's a little different today. We want things now. And if we don't like it, we're changing. Get new car, don't like it, getting a new one. Credit cards, don't like this, I'll just get another credit card, max it out. People live that lifestyle today. And in sports, we have to be patient and we have to be humbled by this because there are going to be so many things that you're used to that aren't going to be the norm right now. And that's a fact, regardless if we come back in a couple months or not.
You said something that you believe we're not going to have fans this year. Now, I'm not going to disagree with that, but how does college football work without fans?
Well, fans can interact at home and things like that, but the game is still played on the field.
How do you make revenue?
Well, from TV deals.
Oh, but how do you put every team on TV? 130 FBS teams. Then you got the FCS teams. That's what I'm saying in all this. That's what makes this so complicated. Where NFL can make it work. They make enough money off their TV deals and everything in general. It's easy when you have 32 teams. What do you do when you have 130? Now, and remember how many small teams. Think about all the big teams.
Yeah.
Think about the Power 5 conferences. Even think how many times is Vanderbilt on TV? Yeah. How many times is Kentucky? It's not a whole lot. It's really not a whole lot. And remember the revenue they make off of this powers these other sports. So how does this happen without fans realistically? Alabama's, LSU's, Georgia's, Florida's, Florida State's, whatever, they get on TV? Yes, they'll be fine because they're on TV all the time. What about these other schools? What about all the MAC schools that maybe they get that Tuesday game or whatever it may be? What about the schools in the WAC conference? What about the schools in the Midwest? What do we do in all that? I don't know.
Well, now it looks like we're going to be joined here in just a second by a girl that's doing some great things in the community right now. She plays softball over at Escambia High School. We had a chance to be down there earlier this year as we helped with a pep rally before the game started right there for the football team as they got set to go for what was a state title run. They got all the way to that championship game, lost a tough one in the championship, but still proud of Coach Bennett's team and everyone. Well, their sports across the board have been awesome. And joining us now to talk some off the field, now that everybody is most people are at home, some people laying around watching Netflix or what they're doing, but one girl that is making a huge impact on our whole entire city and everybody in the community, Alyssa Bennett joins us, Escambia softball senior. There was a great article in the PNJ on her, and her mom reached out. We had a chance to talk to her yesterday. Alyssa, we appreciate your time, and I'm so first off, thank you for what you're doing and making an impact by making more than 100 masks and what you're doing for the community.
Oh, thank you.
Well, first off, let's talk about where did this come? I've tried when I was in home ec. I made a pillow that looked like a great white shark. It didn't last more than a week after my dog thought it was a chew toy. It looked like a chew toy, not one of the
look like a shark.
Not one of the good chew toys. But when it comes down to what you've done, is this something that you've always wanted to do, or is it something where you said, you know what, I want to step up and I want to help make masks. I want to do this because I want to make an impact with the community. Or were you always a good seamstress, a good sewer, or people that could help in this way?
Yeah, I learned when I was 14 years old with the help of my Nana, and I started making quilts. Like, my first quilt was for my dog, and the same thing happened to it that happened to your pillow. It got chewed up and torn up, and I had to throw it away. But my dad works at a local hospital, and whenever this started going out and the CDC then started recommending that everybody would wear a mask, I was like, oh, can I figure out a way to make a mask and be able to give one to my dad? So I did that, and then I was given more fabric, so I've been making masks, just trying to give it to as many people as I can that work in the medical field.
Well, that's pretty awesome. When it came down to actually my pillow, though, my dad said when it got chewed up and there was all this stuff all over the ground and it ripped into pieces, he said, I told you we should have thrown that out. But the problem with that comment was he said that 3 weeks before the dog got to it. So that was I felt obviously my sewing needed work. Okay. But I know, things happen. But, when it comes down to what you're doing here, how many people, because obviously we've all made changes, sacrifices, and I hope one thing, no matter what is going on, because everybody, I've learned way too much about Facebook and way too much about people's political sides and everything. But what I want to say is we're all hopefully fighting for the human race, especially on Easter weekend and what this means. Is this something that after you get done with sports and everything that you've done in the classroom, have you looked into helping in the medical field or even helping go down a path of sewing?
Yeah, I'm attending UWF this coming fall, and I'm planning on majoring in clinical lab science and then a minor in forensics, and I plan on working in the hospital in the lab, and that's my dream.
Well, we need people like you more than ever right now, and I know, JP, you know this, not personally. JP does not know anything about this, but his better half is has gone through it as well with right now is at the ER. And
she's a nurse at another hospital as well. But Alyssa, something that I want to talk about a brighter side of things. I guess it's not really bright, but look, the season you guys had, of course, at Scambia was pretty awesome. Of course, you started out pretty well. I believe it was probably the best start to a season you've had. And I know, of course, you go into UWF, and now that you told me clinical science and everything, I don't know how it would work, but do you still have that itch? Just the way that so far, it seems like maybe you guys don't get to finish the season out or play or whatever it may be. Do you still have that itch to possibly try to walk on or play softball at UWF?
I haven't, I do, but there's, some part of me that's it's okay if I'm over, because honestly, I wouldn't mind coaching in rec ball or coaching, if I had to, if I couldn't do it, I would be a coach, because I still love the sport, and I still would want to do something with it, so coaching would be my go-to if I didn't play.
So basically, you're just a true servant and make everybody else look bad. No, I think it's awesome. That's something that I think a lot of people don't understand, is it's not as easy just to say goodbye like you guys, of course. And you hope that there's something. Maybe you guys can play an all-star game or something with it. But it's been tough. You guys have faced something that nobody else has ever faced, and for you to come out with it with that attitude and say, you know what, if it has to be it, then I'm okay with it and move on. And I think you have a servant's heart, obviously, and I know, of course, Pensacola appreciates it. Me and Chad appreciate it as well. But I think that's just awesome. You continue want to give back, even talking about coaching. I think that's just so special.
Thanks.
And we know your coach pretty well over there based on that the time he spent with football as well, because both JP and I have worked with a number of different stations doing the TV games for high school football and high school sports. So we came over there. We were those guys standing next to the Cat for Cat Country during your pep rally, sending the team off on stage when you guys were playing for football. So we try to get out there, do as much as we can. But I got to say, you guys have always been great. A lot of your local alumni have done shows with Trent Richardson, Emory, and all those guys from Emmett and throughout the days. But what you're doing right now, one thing that I've learned in life, getting involved in sports, and JP and I both had a chance to play some college ball. I'm not going to talk about the stats. Yours are a lot cooler. But when it comes down to doing things off the field, having a family, I have a daughter that was in the NICU for 3 months and survived. She got to cut the ribbon at Sacred Heart Children's Hospital with Bubba Watson when they first opened it, and it meant everything. I mean, that meant more than any kind of award or accolade ever in sports. But getting to see people do things for charity and part of the community is something that we stress so much down here with ESPN Pensacola. Same thing does with Cat Country News Radio, all of our stations here. And that's something that when we see things like this, it's bigger than sports. And it's just because you play softball, it doesn't matter. Everybody should be recognized whether they played sports or not, because this is a bigger impact than me missing right now that I don't get to watch games this Saturday. So we appreciate the heck out of what you're doing. And tell us a little bit about the process, though, of doing it and how it's transported. I mean, in a safety way, we know that. But how much hand sanitizer have you used over the last 3? No, but how do you guys get them out and distribute them out to people?
I'm usually, I'm making masks this weekend for my dad's whole crew at his hospital. And so I plan on giving them to my dad. But in the past, I've put them in, grocery bags, and I've, set it on the doorstep or something of the person I'm giving them to. And Pensacola Mask Sewers is also doing the same thing. But basically, it's door drop-off, and then you tell the person you're there, and then they're like, oh, thanks, and then gone. It's very distant.
Well, when it comes down, we're speaking right now with Alyssa Bennett, Scambia High School senior softball player who has done a great job making over 100 masks with people right now and distributing them out to the community. How big, from a standpoint of the guys that are just, my family likes to fish, and getting a lot of people are taking rags right now. One guy took a rag that clearly he just worked on his car because there was some oil on the side. But I want to say how the masks that you guys are making, because you're around this, I'm asking because I don't know, but how much of a difference is there between some of the masks, the ones that you hear in the news, compared to some of the ones that people are just grabbing from their basement right now or attic? It'd be cool if you had a basement.
If I had to say the difference, the fabric that I was given is it is used for the sterilization of the medical instruments. So it's I don't know, when UF tested it, they tested it like to the grade of like an N99, where only 1% of particles would go through the mask. So it's pretty tough stuff.
Looking right now at the players, and what is the one thing you miss right now? Because it's not just about sports, about being there around school and having the opportunity. Because this was your senior year. This is the year where those half days, getting to have lunch, you get to, a lot of times the kids you meet in high school are the kids that you'll meet the rest of your life. Right after high school, I went off to UCF. My other best friend, he moved to Ohio. The other one moved down to South Florida. Then I moved to Vegas and things. But those are the friends today, when I got married 10, 15 years later, that still were best men at the wedding. And I look at it as, you have, I bet, a lot of your friends right now that you don't know, and you're in the process right now of being someone that's a senior in high school. But talk about what's been the toughest thing of not really getting to see it. But you guys are way cooler with technology, so I'm sure you know how to Skype and Zoom with all your friends these days. Or we just tried it on air with the executive director of Pensacola Sports, Ray Palmer, and it turned into a nightmare.
Bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, I've missed being around my teammates because we're like a family. So it's always fun being around them, especially like when we're on the bus going to games, we're getting hyped, getting ready to play. So it's really been different to not be able to see them every day or see them at practice. It's just different. And it's not like the same experience I would have if I was with them.
All right, a little of sports. What team outside of Escambia, obviously Escambia High School and UWF, what team do you guys root for when it comes to college football?
Oh, college football. University of Florida.
Okay, all right. I can relate. I had a whole household of Gators right there, so I fully understand that.
Yeah,
and,
my mom's alumni from there.
Oh,
so.
nice. Nice. Well, that's really cool. Outside of the trip and the traffic over by Archer and 75 by the right there when you get into Alachua County, outside of that, it's always look, there's difference between living. I always say there are cities within a college, and then there's colleges within a city. Most places are colleges within a city. City life, you can go outside 5-10 miles away, and life continues. In Gainesville, everything is about University of Florida and that whole area right there.
Oh, yeah.
So. And that speed trap at Micanopy. But I will say, looking right now at what you've done, it's phenomenal. I know this is just a small story of your future and what you're going to do in endeavors. Watching people like Myron Roll and what they're doing, they skipped out on the NFL draft to do something special. You do things where you start to name the things that you're getting into in science and in medicine, and you've already lost me on what that actually means, but it's something that sounds really cool. So, Alyssa, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for joining us here for everybody to listen across ESPN here today in Pensacola.
No problem.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'll say go Gators to you. And, my wife went to LSU,
that works
so
both ways
look,
for her, by the way.
probably microwaving a meal tonight. But I will say, overall, congratulations on everything you're doing. I know, more importantly, is there anything you'd like to say about what's going on here before we let you go, too, just on this Easter weekend?
Stay strong and stay safe. I know we're going to get through it, and everybody's been affected with it in different ways, but everybody's going through the same thing right now. All we can do is stay strong and know that there's going to be an end to it.
And that is a medical and also a positive opinion. See, that's the big thing. Trust your med. No, Alyssa, when it comes down to it, hey, we really appreciate it. People like you, if we had more people like that, the things would go a lot quicker. But, we're very blessed and lucky for the people like you that we have, so we can move forward with the things that we love to do, and it's not forgotten. So thank you so much, and look forward to talking to you again here down the road and finding more. So keep making masks and keep making us proud.
All right. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Alyssa. Have fun.
All right.
I appreciate it. All right. Alyssa joining us right there. That is Alyssa Bennett, a Escambia High School senior, and that's a cool story right there. I mean, she's doing something to change things. And, obviously you come in, I do all this research for Escambia High School softball, and then you just come and crush all the stats right there. I'm just joking. No, those are good.
I love high school sports around here. I think it's awesome.
You tried a Ladybugs thing with high school softball in the area when you went to Northview, right? And they found out in a couple days.
I don't know what you're talking about on that.
Never seen the movie Ladybugs? The guy puts a wig on? Okay.
No, I have not. No, I think that's something, though, is, just on the high school. Look, I love high school athletics. I think around here it's so underrated because people don't realize how special our athletes are. And when you talk about the talent, yeah, the talent's amazing. But just stories like that, there's so many people like Alyssa out there, and just her taking the initiative to go above and beyond. And she doesn't have to do this. She could easily be like a lot of people out there, just enjoying their time off from school, whatever, hanging out with people. But I think it's awesome to see stuff like that and stories like that, because people that say that generation is lost, please take a step back. Don't let a few bad apples ruin the whole bunch here, because there is so much good in what's up and coming. That's why I think the people just in this community have done such a good job. There's always those people that you see that don't follow the rules, and people get that negative attitude. Well, remember, that's one person. Think about in our nation and what we're doing right now. I just think that she is a perfect example. There's a lot of people like her out there. We appreciate her, of course, in our community. But going back to it, our high school athletics are awesome. And I mean, that's a great story that has nothing to do with sports. But she's an athlete that took the next step, so it's pretty sweet.
And I know it's important to you because she is somebody that is in a field where she's going to make a difference in medicine. She's great at sports, Escambia High School, and what she's done as a senior. And she's also well-spoken and loves spending time with her friends and misses it and is a big part of her family. Like she said, she's given a lot of those masks to where her dad works is what happens right there. And, that's somebody right there that I know from somebody like you that those check marks haven't been crossed. You can live vicariously through her. I know that's an important. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think it's also a lot for her parents as well. How she has a great support staff, and there's a lot to be said with that. And of course, her father works at a hospital there, so she's seeing it firsthand. She understands. She's seeing a lot more things probably than a lot of everybody else is. I told you, with of course Autumn and working at the hospital as well. I'm hearing things that it's crazy, and what they have to go through each and every day. But it's awesome. They're on the front lines right now. We appreciate them, and we appreciate Alyssa.
It's incredible. I've gained so much. Everybody in life has somebody that they've dealt with or been around with a family member and love for them, whether they battled cancer, whether they had a stroke or a heart attack and had to run to the hospital, or personally gone through stuff. And I can name everybody in all my family that have gone through it. And, my mom had a brain aneurysm at an early age before I was here. And she was given 10% a chance to live, and she did. And she has taken that and
2 years to live, and here she is 6 years later, so it's awesome.
Our daughter wasn't supposed to be here, and is somebody that we spent over almost 3 months in the hospital sitting there. I would get done with the show at 7 and watch machines until 3 a.m., and then all the doctors didn't know as she had twisted bowels, and we had to sit there and not sure. We had to wait, and it just the things with the monitors, being a preemie, and watching other families have to sit there knowing that we had a chance to make it out of there and others did not, and knowing they showed up every day and being there every day. When you go through 90 days of showing up every night from 7, every minute that I wasn't here working in sports, that was the biggest perspective. I do remember when I was in college crying when Tom Brady and Fred Robbins' team, I have to see his ring all the time, when they defeated the David blanking Tyree catch and when they won that. And I realize now, looking back, like, did I really cry over that game? And yes, a couple cold ones. It was college and things like that. But I will say that the moments, so much perspective on life, how much more it means going through that process of family and the things that they told us, the classes, sitting through cystic fibrosis classes for months and having doctors tell you, if lucky, she has until her early 30s to live, and being able to fight all that. Now she's healthy. She's completely healthy. And it's scary knowing that this is going around with anybody with a weakened immune system or anything. But you know what? You got to live life and be strong for those people. And people like Alyssa are not stepping backwards and taking this as, hey, those people that take the half days and watch Price is Right on the couch. She's actually going forward. She's going against it, in front of it, and saying, you know what? I'm going to show people that I can do this, and I'm going to help the people that would be loving to make this mask, but they can't fight it. They can't leave their house because they know right now that in their 80s and their 90s, and they just can't do it. And she, whether we know or not, because we're never going to know, JP, whether or not that mask saves somebody for sure, but it is. Because if they did not have that, many people would lose their lives. And we know the stories of the guy on the side of the road when their car breaks down, when somebody jumps in and saves them, or saves somebody that is in a tiger cage, maybe not tiger these days with Joe Exotic, but is in a cage and they run him back and they become heroes. Sully, when the birds hit the window in the airplane. We all know those stories, and they become American heroes. But indirectly, without even knowing it, she's a hero for what she's doing. We're coming back for more. Well, we know it, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Crystal, for reaching out. Thank you to your mom, Crystal, and Alyssa, and the whole family, and everybody there for the impact you're making. We're coming back for more. It's the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, simulcast on Blab TV.
First Take, your take.
Number one, if you are Cam Newton going to New England, why in God's name would you want Cam Newton to succeed Tom Brady? You don't want to put Cam Newton in that situation when he's 31 years of age. There are people speculating that we may have very well seen the very, very best of him. You don't want that for him.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
From First Take to your radio.
Zion, 16 games. Okay, how many games do they have left? About 20? 22 games? All right, so he ain't going to even reach 40 games. Damn it, I mean, this first year in the NBA, which he's getting paid for, it's like a college season to do. Give a damn about no back-to-back. You're 19 years old. 19 years old. All right, figure it out.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
JP here with Talk Football on the Sports Drive. This is a different time for all of us, and for some, it's extremely tough right now. All of us here at ESPN Pensacola want to send a shout out to all our first responders and healthcare workers right now. We appreciate all the work that you do day in and day out, but right now we know you are all working harder than ever to help all of us get through this to beat COVID-19. If you see someone or know someone who is a first responder or healthcare worker, don't shake their hand, but let them know you appreciate them. Remember, a kind word goes a long way.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
A-Town down. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Happy Good Friday to everybody out there, and a lot to give. Let's focus on the things this weekend we can give thanks for. Beautiful weather, sunshine. You know, the physical things that we can control. We could still go out. You can still be on the back patio with your immediate family, with a group of 3 or 4 people, enjoying a meal that you can still pick up or have delivered to your house, and still be able to sit in the sunshine and enjoy today. Well, other countries are tracking you on their cell phone and arresting you if you go outside.
You know, it was something that was said to me today by a very close friend of mine, and they mean a lot, and their family means a lot. But it's they said something to try this weekend, and this is something that you can try if you want. Maybe challenge your family, challenge yourself. It's actually a lot harder, believe it or not. But try to not say anything negative this weekend. Try not to be negative. Throw nothing but positivity out this weekend. It being, of course, Good Friday today, Easter on Sunday. Just because of everything going on right now, it's so easy to read news. And if news is what's making you negative, stay away from the news. Just for the weekend. You're going to be okay, I promise you. Focus on something else that's positive, whether it's reading a book, spending more time with your family, doing something with your family. And if you're alone, finding someone positive just to talk to and confront and just whatever. Just try to not say anything negative or be negative this weekend. And I think it is hard because that's something where I look at it and, I've already talked to Autumn. We're going to do it. We're going to give it a shot. I'm going to visit my parents tomorrow, which is awesome. Check up on them. Of course, my parents, mean a tremendous amount to me. They live up in the north end of the county. They're away from everybody. So that's where Dad said, social distancing. He goes, son, I've been doing that ever since I retired. What are you talking about? So it's awesome. But, go help him with whatever he needs help with just in general. But I think that's something that's important. Just try this weekend to not say anything negative. Just be positive. So that's my challenge out there.
Well, that's going to be that's awesome. I will start. JP?
Oh, geez.
Ryan Tannehill, I believe, will be a more valuable and consistent quarterback for the Tennessee Titans than Marcus Mariota. Look, I've already started it.
And you know what,
Look
Chad?
at that. Look at that positive vibe.
I believe Jarrett Stidham, he will lead you guys to win the division somehow. There you go. You're welcome. But
it's
not unrealistic.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Whoa! Look, you already failed.
Yes, it is.
Get you out of here.
It's not failing. That sarcasm has its ways. Wisconsin won't bring back. Let's get to a couple cash or smash it real quick. Wisconsin won't bring back seniors in spring next year. Good idea or bad idea to make that announcement now?
I think it's a good idea. Don't let this sit around. Let these guys look they can transfer. I saw that the transfer portal, I believe, has over 700 people in it right now. I think there was 100 and something that were grad transfers. Of course, that number will probably go up with all this being said, too. I think it's a good move. Look, for some schools, it may be easier, depending on your situation with whatever, however your sport is. But I think it's a great move on their part. Go ahead and put it out there. That way it gives them plenty of time to make moves that they need to make.
There was a blind golfer for Wisconsin. I just quoted, he said, "My final wish was to play one more hole with my teammates." Agree or disagree still on it's wrong to get these guys out of here?
I think it's a good move. I mean, he's just going to have to go find some new teammates.
You heard it here first. Looking at
positive.
For somebody crying, that's not a real story, by the way.
People.
First off, that person would be in the limelight every night.
Yes.
A blind golfer of Wisconsin who's still on the team, like shooting 70s. Like most people, my game looks blind off the tee, but that would be a feat.
The blind long snapper for USC. Well, that was awesome.
That is incredible to be a blind long snapper. But we can all probably get in the yard, feel a football, and close your eyes. Not to say to get a skull. Listen to this. I'm not taking away. No. You're not getting. You need to let me finish this.
Wow.
Positive. Stay positive.
You stay positive. You just brought the negativity
to
the
saying
house.
That snapping a football blind we might be able to do. Playing a round of golf. Mine's hypothetical. That yours is actually real. So I was going to say.
I'm aware of that.
But playing 18 off the tee blind, that would be the best.
I play like I'm blind. That's what I would imagine. The way I play golf is probably I might as well close my eyes.
My whole game's blind because as far as
just close my eyes
rip it on those 350-yard par fours, it's so far away when I hit the green I can't even see it. So it's pretty much like it's blind until that guy comes up. How dare you hit up on me? It's my first shot, baby, off the tee.
I broke a window the first time
I spray painted a bouncy ball, by the way. No, looking at the other things going on right now, the XFL has suspended league. Cashier Smash at the XFL will play another game in our lifetimes.
I think they'll be back next year. I really do. I think if everything goes as planned as what we're thinking, if we have a college, this is what I'll say. If we have a college football and NFL season, we'll have an XFL season next year.
Cashier Smash at Colin Kaepernick will make the report of him playing for the New York Jets a reality and actually get an NFL contract.
I just don't see it happening.
We're trying to stay positive. I shouldn't have brought that name right there. All right, moving on to our next one here. The game before us, Chris Paul, Trae Young, Zach LaVine, because he can dunk, is the best option.
I mean, what's the rules to this? I haven't seen all the rules because Chauncey Billups is in it too.
Is he really?
Yeah, Chauncey Billups is in it. There's a couple other guys, of course. There's another alumni, but Zach, if you can dunk, Zach LaVine.
I mean, he's not going to lose right there.
No,
Ladies, it's Zach, not Adam. I mean, they're both not bad-looking guys, but yeah, don't go off this like. The ones that are funny though, they're like Adam Levine during this year with J-Lo and all that. Like Adam Levine the year before just like did whatever he wanted to do on stage.
Yeah.
And people had no problem with that. Positive, Chad. But Braves won best uniforms according to Major League Baseball's Fox vote. We want to make that clear. This wasn't our vote. We're sharing things right now on social media from people to interact with. That doesn't mean that it's all us. I saw somebody like, how could you did not think this. I just shared it. There's a big Fox. We're ESPN. Where do you look at this and who to you? Cash or smash it. Braves, best uniforms in Major League Baseball.
I like them, but I'll smash it. I like and as much as I don't like them, I do like the tradition behind it. I like the Yankees pinstripe uniform. It's just there's so much history behind it. I actually like the Giants uniforms though. There's
Those
something
are pretty
about
cool.
the Giants.
I was thinking that the other day.
I'd have to go Giants. That's my personal opinion. Though.
If a team's winning them, they look a lot cooler. You know what I'm saying? Like they. One I think we can agree on. The Brown Padres uniforms are terrible.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of here. But the ones when it comes down to the uniforms, I always love the two I like the most. It really depends how they're playing.
Throwback Braves now. That one's pretty cool.
No, the throwback Brewers with the glove in there, I love those when they were good. But those teams with Deere and Robin Yount, those teams were not good. So so I don't like them as much. But the classic pinstripes, even though I hate them, any classic pinstripes are pretty cool. Those old Philly ones, a little crazy. But
Joe chiming in on this, he said the Oakland Athletics.
Ace has some pretty cool uniforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they have some. Since he's chiming in, is it the green ones? Is he talking the throwback greens, or you're just talking about the ones that spell athletics? We're going throwback greens, aren't we?
Now I'm waiting on the text message, so I'll let you know.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We do need to take another break.
Home whites, he said.
Home whites? Yeah.
I like the home whites.
I do like the home whites. I like when the elephant is up with the guys.
Yeah.
Where they're the only ones within like 800 fans, but they're banging on the drums up there with the elephant. Yeah, home whites.
Not trash cans, drums, right?
Different team in the AL West.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh.
Well, I noticed dry brush where we wanted our bonfire and suggested we move it. Then Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. Just letting you know you did good.
Hey, guys, that was Smokey. You owe me 20.
Well, congratulations, and thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats. I'm JP. When Michael Jordan averaged over 37 points per game in 1986, his Chicago Bulls were a sub-500, 8th-seeded playoff team that got swept by the Boston Celtics in the first round. See, kids, it is a team game. The average golf ball has 336 dimples. Come on, don't act like you've never wondered. And from 1989 to 1998, Prairie View A&M lost 80 consecutive games. I'm guessing that's a record that will never be broken. That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats. I'm JP.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Yeah, I get it, you're an outcast. Always under attack, always coming in last. Bringing up the pass, no one owes you anything. I think you need a
And welcome back.
blast, a kick in the ass. So
Sports Drive. Is that what you're pausing me for right there, so I could talk right after that word right there? Hey, look, you got coffee shops with that, so I'm okay. That's my word. If I ever got like a violation from the FCC, I'd be like, you know what, we're gonna go have coffee over this. Oh wait, at that place with that sign, be like, oh, you got me. Mic drop right there. You're like, we're still finding you. Looking at the uniforms, what do you think when they bring back? Like, I'm looking at Bryce Harper in a Philadelphia Philly old school uniform. Like, I liked Mike Schmidt in it. I don't like to see Bryce Harper in this uniform.
No.
Yeah, the A's are sweet, though. The A's uniforms.
What about the Reds last year when they did the cut-off jerseys? No sleeves. They didn't wear any undershirt with it.
Well, but all of their players they all have like the same thing. Their guys are going to bat 230 that all have just ridiculous semi-1990 guns in the Great American Ballpark. No, think about it. Dietrich, all those guys like Lorenzen, they're all just a bunch of huge guys.
Lorenzen's
all played at Wahoo Stadium too. Man, I'm looking at some of these. I think are you more of a logo or the name across?
I like the name across. I do.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking at some of these right now. It's hard because baseball is one of those that they're pretty much – baseball has a pattern to them. It's usually the name across or you get the logo, and you don't usually venture too far out. Now, basketball, look, I don't even know. Orlando, this was like July, and they're doing a preseason
Halloween,
game.
baby.
What are they doing? Get them out of here.
Look, I'm burnt out.
It wasn't even Halloween. It was just
I'm burnt out
stick to the
on,
colors you are.
On
stick
crazy
to the
uniforms, okay? I grew up an Oregon fan, an Oregon Duck fan with all the million different types of uniforms, and I just don't – I'm burnt out on that kind of stuff.
You do have 17,000 different uniform
Yeah, I know, and I could care less for probably 90% of them.
What uniforms in sports do you see and you're reminded of those are just absolute hogwash when it comes to the team? Not the uniforms. Like the Killer Bees look like people out of jail when Big Ben wears them, but what uniforms do you see and you're like, that team sucks? I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, that you just look at those uniforms and say, wow, that team's horrible. Cream color Bucks. That's why they probably didn't go that route with Brady. Because when you saw those uniforms, they were atrocious.
Yeah, they were
Steve
really
Young
bad.
couldn't even win games on those teams.
I hate this.
A kid today who's under the age of 20, like Cowboys, be like, oh, that was wrong. But no,
I don't. I mean, like that. I don't like the old Patriots. You know, the just because of it's not.
We were
it's
bad, but
before.
that's. I mean, they made
I know,
the
I
Super
just,
Bowl.
but I
a
don't.
couple times. All right.
I don't like
I was
it,
born
though.
on Super Bowl Sunday when they played the Bears. They got annihilated. January 25th, 1985.
I can go with the Oregon, the diamond-plated uniforms that they used to wear, that dark green, the forest green or whatever, and then that black with the diamond plate on the shoulder pads and things. I actually didn't mind the wings on the shoulders and stuff, but that diamond plate stuff, like, what are you, a toolbox?
Take the box word. But if you look right now at Houston in their uniforms, before everything happened with the quarantine, if we played a social media game, let's put JP in a Houston Astros jersey and walk you around town. Where's our ratio of how many people say something? Think it's more drive down windows, or people might confront you, be like, "You really going to wear that in
Am I
public?"
walking like downtown, like Palafox?
Patriot gear now. I'm just happy we're not the worst. We're not the most villains. We're not the villains of walking around.
Now people
anymore.
just laugh.
Yeah, and we used to love Houston. Honestly, Houston was that team that for most of us, I loved their team. I loved their roster. You had some of everything. You had the great underdog stories of a guy that looked like he could be checking people out with grocery shopping, and Jose Altuve couldn't ride the Dumbo ride at Disney because you have to be yay tall. You got guys, and then you got the stories like George Springer and Carlos Correa who lived up to the hype. You have guys that look like beer truck drivers like Evan Gaddis and Brian McCann still making it something. Josh Reddick's story is great. He actually is from a place in Georgia where my uncle works with him. He's in charge of his charity that he donates so much time and effort. But he looks like the guy that definitely could fit around. He looks like a guy from Georgia. And also a guy that would probably
but it's a team that
bite your neck and you would be in true
that won
blood,
42 games and then turns around, and then a few years later they build up through the draft and their minor league system, and not a typical route that we see all the time in Major League Baseball. That feel-good story is a lot of those guys came through the minor leagues, and then they get up to the major leagues, and they all show out, and they go win a World Series, and then they have trash cans they're banging on.
And even though the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Cubs usually spent a lot of money on guys that had been proven or won World Series, and then they latch on to get them, like Lester from the Cubs or David Price from the for the Braves.
My cousin, yes.
I mean, from the Red Sox. Yankees do that with guys. They did it dating back to Lance Berkman and so on. They've done it forever. But if you look at a team like the Astros, they actually went after guys like Verlander and Cole, who they were on bad teams, stuck on islands, and now came together to reunite to win something together. You think about it. The guys that were on their rotation with Cole and Verlander and a lot of those guys, none of them, Dallas Keuchel's before. Dallas Keuchel was a guy that wasn't even he was one of these guys nobody had heard of. So the guys that were on that rotation were guys that people wanted to root for. They wanted to see them win something. They wanted to see Justin Verlander celebrate with Kate Upton on the field. But then
I think we just want to see Kate Upton celebrate, but that's fine. Yes,
opinion, a good opinion, but that's where we were with that. And now it's all been sort of taken out. When I see Astros, it's a completely different thing now.
Yeah, you get aggravated. You get mad. Just I don't know. I wish we had the full story on all this. I just wish that somebody would come out and say, "All right, here it is. This is what we did. This is what's going on." Like the truth. I just like to know.
Do you think it would be a bad idea, since we have sort of a time off, obviously, if Houston came back with a brand new uniform, brand new name, revamp? Look, the Roughnecks are on a 5-game winning streak. Just go with the Roughnecks in baseball. Like, people are already liking that team. Just completely. Be like, what? So be like, hey, weren't you those Astros? I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
You talking
about trash cans?
Just take up the Oilers name again?
No trash cans in the stands either. It's all recycling bins.
That's actually perfect. I wonder if they're doing something like that, though.
All paper shredder machines, and all of it is, no trash cans. It's all
just trash bags. That's all there is.
That's all it is. Like when like the little doggy bags, like at the park.
The usher walks around constantly just picking up the trash.
Yeah, some of these uniforms are baseball's pretty much across the board. It's whatever team you root for because the pattern is about the same. But yeah, some of these are pretty cool. Washington's All-American uniforms, when Washington Nationals, when they wear the American Pride, those are pretty cool.
I actually liked them a lot more once
like Seattle's
Bryce Harper left.
Like, see, to me, Bryce, that's true, me too.
Once he left, they looked a lot better.
The Bryceless jersey. The Seattle Mariner jerseys I loved back in the day, but now, once again, the kids see it as a different uniform. It's a bad uniform because they're not good. But back in the day when Griffey and Buhner and these guys wore it, we all wanted those.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're coming back for more. Sports Drive. Mets jerseys, we all can just say, are still not good looking at all. That's sounds about right.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
First Take, your take.
Number one, if you are Cam Newton going to New England, why in God's name would you want Cam Newton to succeed Tom Brady? You don't want to put Cam Newton in that situation when he's 31 years of age. There are people speculating that we may have very well seen the very, very best of him. You don't want that for him.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You know how you can end a uniform conversation? Make somebody feel un-American. Just put Team USA's jersey with the eagle on it. Be like, this is my favorite. What do you guys think? Be like, you son of a. After that, you can't. No, not a big fan of that. Oh, really? What do you like? One with the maple leaf and red? What do you?
Get them out of here.
You don't like this, huh? Want green, white, and red stripes? What are you going here, huh? One that we can all agree on, I hope, though, is that these. Remember the old Buccaneer. The Pirates, Pittsburgh Pirate ones with the actual pirate face on the red jerseys. That looked like somebody had some kid that even the teacher couldn't hold back and be like, "Oh, Billy, that's a great uniform." "Ooh, I can't give you a grade for this one." Somebody said that they approved that was okay. It wasn't even a cool looking pirate. I mean,
that was somebody's kid that worked there.
It was. I did like the old conductor hats they wore. Those hats were ridiculous. Remember back in the day when hats have changed a lot. You wear a lot of hats, and I grew up, everybody says the hair. Do you ever wear hats? I used to wear a ton of hats. That one's like a gas station hat. That's a terrible hat over there, that Patriot one. Someone would say already it's a terrible hat. But back in the day, remember the baseball leagues? It was a big deal whether you got the cool brim fitted hats or the ones that were the good material before New Era and all those made all the same hats, or the ones that looked like the top hat where it had the point in the middle and the string. You knew it was somebody in your league was going the cheap route big time, or they owned a printing company that had the string in front of the hat that you had. Forget about that one right there.
That's when you just be a catcher.
Oh, those hats were hideous. But I have to say, though, to get off hats right now, some of the things we talked about earlier today, the NFL committee waives off PI reviews. Look.
And the Sky Judge.
And the Sky Judge. I think this is good. We said before the season that the PI challenge was a bad idea, and it wasn't because we don't want the calls to be right. Gene Stallings will get on the show, and he'll say, Chad, we expect the referees to get every call right, but the players and the coaches don't get everything right. But at the same time, I do disagree. I never say it to him. We respect him too much, but it's his opinion. I do agree we should be able to use replay and get the calls right in a matter of time. But these were all pretty much, you're just sending one guy to make a hypothetical call to another guy to make a hypothetical call because only, 8 out of 77 were overturned when all of them had contact? So it didn't work out. Moving on. From the Saints call, just be better at your job during the Rams. That was just hideous. Hey, JP, have a happy week. Positive thoughts, as you said.
Positive.
Happy Easter to you and your family.
You too.
You know I love you, man. I hope your family knows that as too. I like to joke, but he's an awesome guy. Guys, have a happy Easter, and we'll be back on Monday, man. Love you.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
This is Spain and Company on ESPN Radio and on the